Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order tonight. And if you'll notice on the agenda, the second item on the agenda is attendance roll call. The third item is swearing in ceremony for newly elected council members. I'd like to reverse that order so that we can do a roll call after all council members have been sworn in following the most recent election. If that's okay with council, we'll go ahead and reverse that order. Number 2 is now number 3 on the agenda, and number 3 is now number 2. So with that, we'll go ahead and proceed with the swearing-in ceremony for newly elected council members. And first, our clerk will come and administer the oath to Councilmember-elect Doyle.
Testing. Hello. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sam Doyle,
I, Sam Doyle,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the State of Washington,
of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
of City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
for a 4-year unexpired term
for a 4-year unexpired term
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then if you will sign here. That's for you. Next is William Page Jr. Where are you? I should have asked. Was Sam Doyle? You want William Page Jr.? Is that what you're going to say? As your...
What are my choices?
Huh?
I like it with the flag. I like the flag in the back is fine.
Over here? With this snack basket?
Sure. Okay, since I've got the mic, we've got the opportunity. We are honored here at Mountlake Terrace to have visitors from Houston, Texas, to see how government is run in Mountlake Terrace. My mother, Barbara Townsend, and my sister Deirdre, they're here for this.
I'm from Houston, too.
And she's from Houston, too.
Yeah, I was born in Clear Lake City. Anyway. On to official business.
And my wife is here also. So I kind of expect her to be up here.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you face me? Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, William Page Jr.,
I, William Page Jr.,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the State of Washington,
of the State of Washington.
and that I will faithfully and impartially
And I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
for a 4-year unexpired term
for a 4-year unexpired term
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I would be amiss without acknowledging also here in the audience a favorite of all of us in Mountlake Terrace, Wally Webster. Thank you for coming.
Okay, so I'll just have you sign your certificate over here. You're right here. Okay, forgot it. I forgot we did that already. Okay. Next is Councilmember Woodward. front of the flag, I guess. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
With honor. Doesn't matter. Sure.
I, Dr. Steve Woodard,
I, Dr. Steve Woodard,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of
of
Washington,
the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of the City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
of the beautiful city of Mountlake Terrace as a council member
for a 4-year unexpired term
for a 4-year unexpired term
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the absolute best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then if you could sign. That is yours. Yes. Kyoko Matsumoto Wright. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kyoko Matsumoto Wright,
I, Kyoko Matsumoto Wright. I, Kyoko Matsumoto Wright,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and Constitution and laws
of the state of Washington,
of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
of the City of Mountlake Terrace Council Member
for a 4-year unexpired term
for a 4-year unexpired term
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then if you'll just sign that right there. Roll call. I will just call you all council member tonight. Councilmember Wall,
Here.
Councilmember Matsumoto Wright, Councilmember Murray,
Present.
Councilmember Doyle,
Present.
Councilmember Page,
Here.
Councilmember Sonmore. Here. Councilmember Woodard.
Accounted for.
That concludes roll call.
So next item on our agenda this evening is the election for mayor, and following that, the election for mayor pro tem. And biannually, in even-numbered years at the first meeting of the new council, which is tonight, the members shall choose a mayor from their number. And annually, at the first council meeting, the council shall decide by a majority of those present whether to appoint a mayor pro tem. And if the council chooses to appoint a mayor pro tem, they shall be selected using the same process as the mayor. So the first step this evening is to call for nominations for the position of mayor for the city of Mountlake Terrace for the next 2 years.
I move to nominate Councilmember Woodard for position of mayor.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other nominations this evening? Okay. Well, with that, we will proceed with a roll call vote. Clerk?
Okay. Councilmember Wall.
Aye.
Councilmember Matsumoto Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Councilmember Doyle.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Sonmore.
Aye.
Councilmember Woodard.
Absolutely.
Don't you get a
aye.
vote?
No, I was teasing. You can't see my face. I'm trying not to cry. Thank you. Aye.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, we have a new mayor for the 2-year term, and now I would hear any nominations for the position of mayor pro tem for the next year.
I make a motion for Councilmember Wall as pro tem.
Are there any other nominations for mayor pro tem? Councilmember Wood.
Just so we have a conversation, I nominate Councilmember Murray.
Okay, thank you. Any other nominations? The next part of the procedure, because there are 2 possible members of council that are up for the position of mayor pro tem, we are going to draw from the hat box, card catalog, appropriate for someone with a library degree, librarian's degree. And we'll draw by position of seniority or by seniority, and then that will be the order in which you will all vote.
Councilmember Page, sorry. Okay. Let me guess. Suspense. Oh. I can take it. But I still have to see the number because I can't tally that fast.
Okay, and now the clerk will call in the order that you drew. What's that? Would you like to? You certainly can if you'd like to. Yeah.
Of course you do.
I call for the vote.
Steve, Councilmember Woodard.
Excuse me?
Sorry.
Murray.
Sorry. Mayor. This is too
Murray.
complicated. Councilmember Murray.
I think Councilmember Wall has done an amazing job, and I nominated him whenever he started in this journey, and I'm also going to go ahead and vote for myself, Murray.
Yeah. Did you understand the word she said?
So you voted for Murray? Yeah, okay. Councilmember Matsumoto Wright. I'll need your microphone on, please.
Just for balance, I'm going to go for Councilmember Wall.
Councilmember Wall.
Can I give a speech about how great Aaron Murray is? While voting for myself? Well,
Councilmember Sommore. Councilmember Doyle.
Murray.
Councilmember Page.
How did I find myself in this spot? Well, since I nominated you, then I'm going to vote for you.
What, can you say the name?
Councilmember Wall.
Thank you. That's 4 for Wall, 3 for Murray.
Okay, then we do have a mayor pro tem for the next year, and that is Mayor Pro Tem Wall. Okay.
I have
Mr.
Public comment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please.
Are we ready for public comment? We just
Yes.
have one. Adam, you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
yeah.
Oh, are there more?
Excuse us, folks, while we do a transition. We haven't done this in quite a while. So I believe I do the transition. We're going to go for public comment now. And so, oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, our first one is remote, and that is Adam Sakay. Adam, you'll
Hi.
have 5 minutes.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, so first I just want to say Happy New Year and congrats to everyone who won the election. It's good to see you all up there. So I'm sure a number of you have gotten sick at some point over the past few weeks and have noticed that family, friends, and coworkers have gotten sick too. We're in a massive COVID wave, and on top of that, the flu is exploding in a way that it hasn't in the past, thanks to everyone's immune systems being dysregulated from repeat COVID infections. Given that each COVID infection damages your organs, blood vessels, and immune system, and is a roll of the dice for symptomatic long COVID and other post-COVID conditions, this unchecked disease spread is a dire situation. Additionally, when people get sick, they end up missing work, and in many cases end up too sick or disabled to remain in the workforce at all. Constant COVID reinfections are causing people to lose the income they need to stay afloat and are plunging them into poverty, and studies have shown that it's the most marginalized who are bearing the brunt of this. Unchecked COVID spread is both an economic and social injustice issue. It's exacerbating income inequality and its downstream effects. As things stand, we're doing absolutely nothing to stop this. We're pretending that the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is over, and while we are acknowledging that the flu is spreading, we're not doing anything to prevent it. We're just letting it happen. What I'm asking of the council is to make 2026 the year we start doing something. And there's so much we can do, but we're just not for some reason, even though it's a problem that impacts every single one of us. And I'm not just issuing a vague somebody do something. There are specific, concrete things we can do to stop the spread, and I really want to help too. Please don't hesitate to email me and ask me to do something. I have the time and energy and willingness to help, and it would truly make my day. Here are just 4 easy examples of things we can start doing. 1. An educational public health campaign that teaches people the realities of COVID, how it spreads, how to stop it, what the consequences of infection are, etc. We need to remind people that this is an ongoing threat, not a past event. 2. Provide N95s to the community. An N95 that fits you approaches 100% protection against infection and transmission, and fortunately they're extremely cheap, usually between $1 and $2, and they can be reused multiple times. Also, while buying N95s off of Amazon usually isn't recommended, activist groups have independently verified that the cases of 440 3M auras being sold there for 7 cents a mask are legitimate. 7 cents to save lives from being ruined or ended is the most incredible return on investment I can think of. 3. Start getting air purifiers into our public spaces. Schools would be an excellent choice as a first step, given that it's been proven that schools drive community spread, and given that kids are going to be most impacted by COVID long term. Long COVID is already the #1 chronic health condition in children, and it's scary to think how things are going to be for them after additional years of reinfections. 4. Throw community events where people wear masks and build Corsi cubes. As I've explained before, Corsi cubes are cost-efficient homemade air purifiers that outperform commercial HEPA purifiers. It would be a great way for the community to come together, learn about how to protect each other, and actually take the steps to protect each other. It could even be done on the recreation fields off of 56th. I really can't think of any better way to both build and foster a sense of community and care. I'll leave it there for now, but I'm hoping we can finally start doing these things. They will straight up prevent lives from being needlessly ruined or ended. I know everyone on the council believes that kids deserve safe schools, that workers deserve safe workplaces, and that patients deserve safe doctor offices and hospitals. Let's make those things happen in 2026. Thanks.
We do have 2 people who signed up to comment in person. First is Maggie Femia. You'll have 5 minutes at the podium.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Maggie Femia, and my husband and I have lived in Mountlake Terrace now for 3 years. We found the community to be welcoming and love that we are close to everything. I just want to thank the council members and staff for all the work that you do to make MLT a great place to live. I especially want to congratulate council members Sam Doyle and William Page for prevailing in their contested race, and the others who ran and won. My hope is that you work in a bipartisan manner by first getting agreement on what is the problem we are trying to solve, who needs to be at the table to solve it, and what are the viable alternatives to consider, making sure we are factoring in the actual costs and benefits of those alternatives. Lastly, I've been involved as a citizen, appointed and elected official in our regional issues, especially having to do with transit and transportation, since 1992. I know that's hard to believe, but unfortunately, special interests, both in the private and public nonprofit sector, dominate much of the discussion and policy decisions around transportation and transit. The actual performance measures are buried deep in the appendices of the Puget Sound Regional Council Transportation 2050 Plan. I'd be happy to share those with you at any time, and I have a few to share right now. We have more information on our smartertransit.org website. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan, all-volunteer organization that promotes good transit, affordable transit for everybody. Some of those performance measures by 2050, and this is according to the Puget Sound Regional Council, by 2050, even if we build out ST3, congestion increases 54%. Only about 3% of all the trips, that's 24 million trips a day, 3%, and that's a high number, will be on Sound Transit trains. We're spending, right now, the projection is $180 billion for the ST3. And the average family is paying right now $1,700 a year to Sound Transit taxes. So think of all what we could do for a fraction of that in our cities, in our counties, in our region. Again, thank you so much for running and for serving. It's usually a thankless job, but I'm here to say thank you.
Sorry, and the last person who signed up is Audie. I messed up your last name last time, so I'll let you say it.
Okay, first of all, congratulations. I'm very excited to see you here. This is such a fun thing to witness in person, just democracy. It's really fun. Oh, democracy is such a fun thing to witness in person, so thank you for giving us a good show today. Now, I'm sorry, this is going to get a little darker, but here goes. I don't know if it's okay for me to use this place today as a public forum, but I need to use my voice tonight, and maybe someone will find comfort and courage in what I have to say. I'm extremely upset by the recent events that have taken place in Minnesota and Portland. So if anyone else had to cry on their way home from work, know that you're not alone. And if you had to pull yourself together again to protect your young child from the turmoil happening outside their home, then again, know that you're not alone. Here's my very basic and quick read on yesterday's events. A person who was scared by the presence and demeanor of intimidating men carrying weaponry around children reacted in a fight or flight, in this case, flight, response, and was killed. It's a normal and well-adjusted response to be scared when in this kind of situation, and we should absolutely not be expected to nor want to get used to any of this and to be able to dominate our fear. Our fear is a healthy thing here. I would like to formally ask the Council on behalf of the residents of Mountlake Terrace not to remain silent about these events and to please do something to clearly honor the life of this fellow human who was caught in the middle of the horror we are currently witnessing. I know many of my fellow residents feel similarly, and I'm yet again thankful to live among such a wonderful group of people on a personal level, and I would like to see the city reflect this publicly. Now I'm going to share something I had already shared in the past, but these aren't my words, but they're just better than my words. So, one of Hitler's greatest allies in the Holocaust was the indifference of the world. Hitler had an all-powerful ally with whom he had never succeeded. His ally was the world that chose to remain silent as Germany kept testing the limits of the universal tolerance for its evil actions. The Holocaust didn't begin with the crematoria. Hitler moved slowly, cautiously escalating his anti-Jewish policies. In 1935, he passed the Nuremberg laws, depriving all Jews of German citizenship. Jews were then barred from their professions, their stores were boycotted, and they were singled out for special taxes, and they were prohibited from intermarrying with Germans. But on November 9th, 1938, Hitler chanced a much more devastating step to test the waters of the world's reaction. Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, was a government-sponsored pogrom to attack the windows of almost every German synagogue and to viciously beat any Jew who tried to protect the sanctuaries. But this was not enough to arouse the anger of the world, and so the progression that the great Protestant theologian Martin Niemöller described so powerfully was set into inexorable motion. He wrote, "When the Nazis went after the Jews, I was not a Jew, so I did not react. When they persecuted the Catholics, I was not a Catholic, so I did not move. When they went after the workers, I was not a worker, so I did not stand up. When they went after the Protestant clergy, I moved, I reacted, I stood up, but by then it was too late. By that time, there was no one else to speak up for anyone." this is just my plea that we do something, please. I love this place, and I know many people share this. And yeah, just anyone who's suffering, you're not alone. Let's try and make things better. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you kindly. We're going to move back to the agenda now and move to the selection and vote on councilmember intergovernmental boards. You should have the spreadsheet in front of you. And I do believe we go by seniority, so we will follow that protocol through this part as well. You want to lead this, or?
No, basically the same, just reiterating what you had said. Part of the city council's role is to represent the city on city, county, and regional boards and commissions, and traditionally council members share this responsibility as much as possible, given their work schedules. We do go through the list. The list that you all have in front of you is broken down into green and blue. The green items are the ones that this council selects, and then the blue items are ones that are appointed by outside boards. We traditionally go by seniority for selection until all the boards and commissions are filled, so we can go ahead and start that process.
Outstanding. So that would begin with Councilmember Sonmore.
Thank you. Just give me one moment here. I'll select the Lodging Tax Committee.
We'll move to Councilmember Matsumoto Wright.
Can I remind you to speak into the microphone, please?
I'm going to select AHA.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Snohomish County Tomorrow Steering Committee.
Mayor Woodard. I will go with the Finance Committee. Councilmember Murray.
I will choose the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission.
Heard that vote of confidence from the audience, and we'll go with Councilmember Page.
So for clarification, we selecting either the green or the blue?
No, just
Just
the green.
the green?
Just the
green.
green.
Just the green. I'm sorry?
Next Thursday, we'll pick the blue.
The Arts Advisory Commission.
Arts Advisory. And that brings us to Councilmember Doyle.
Thank you. My heart says RPAC, but my schedule says the Board and Commission Interview Subcommittee.
All right, now is when it gets really tricky. We go back at the top. Councilmember Sonmore.
Park and Rec, please.
Councilmember Matsumoto Wright.
I pass.
We have a pass. That brings us to Councilmember Woodard.
Mayor.
Sorry,
yeah.
Mayor Woodard.
No, Mayor Pro Tem Wall, I think, please.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Wall. I was wondering how it got to be that quick.
Worries, I'm happy to pass too, but I'll take the AHA alternate position.
Alternate. Now, Mayor Woodard. I will give the Seashore Transportation Forum another try. Hope I don't let the former mayor down. I will do my best. That brings us to Councilmember Murray.
I will choose the, Board and Commission Interview Subcommittee, please.
That brings us to Councilmember Page.
The Board and Commission interview.
Board and Commission. All right, sorry about that. I'm going to keep track myself. That brings us to Councilmember Doyle.
If there were a DEI alternate, I would take that. However, in its absence, I would like to do the Personnel Review Subcommittee.
Personnel. We are back at the top to Councilmember Sonmore.
The Personnel Committee, please. For 200.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we have 2 for that. Can we do 3? Am I looking at the right ones? Personnel City Manager Review Subcommittee.
Who was the
Councilmember Murray spoke up first, and then Councilmember Doyle, unless I have that wrong.
Yeah, sorry, I was commission or Board and Commission interview.
Oh, so I do have that wrong. I apologize. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have that down for Sam, myself, and William.
Oh, perfect. So that one's locked in. Okay, there we go. So then Councilmember Sonmore has Personnel Review Subcommittee. Does that still work for you?
Yes, please.
Perfect, okay. And Councilmember Matsumoto Wright.
I'll pass.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
I'll do finance.
Finance. That goes to Woodard. I will do, I'll stay as the alternate for SCT. Councilmember Murray.
I can be the alternate. Oh, I can continue for the Lake Ballinger, McAleer Creek Watershed Forum.
Primary or alternate?
I'm happy to serve as either. If somebody is interested in being the primary, that would be fine. But if not, I'm happy to be the primary. I will say there's not a heavy meeting schedule for what it's worth if folks are looking for other opportunities.
Okay, we're going to have you in the primary until we get to see if we have an alternate. That brings us to Councilmember Page.
Is the alternate for the AHA still on the table? It's gone.
No, looks like it's off. Yeah, at this point, it looks like we still have left one, one shot there because the appointments are off every 2 years, 2-year appointment, if you will. So that's still open. And Ballinger Lake alternate is open, as well as alternate for Seashore. And then the salmon recovery is still wide open. Almost there, folks. You do have the right to pass.
Pass.
I would go to Councilmember Doyle.
Pass.
Once more around the horn, see where it brings us. Councilmember Sonmore. Okay. Councilmember Matsumoto Wright.
I'm going to pass again,
Okay.
but for those of people out there, I have other ones coming up. It's not like I'm not going to any meetings.
No, no judgment here. Yeah, no judgment here. No, thank you, though, but no judgment here. Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Yeah, I'm likely to be continuing to serve in a number of other capacities, so I'm going to pass as well.
Understood. Mayor Pro Tem Woodard. I will go back and stay as the alternate for Lake Ballinger, McAleer Creek. And Councilmember Murray?
I can take the alternate for Seashore Transportation Forum.
That brings us to Councilmember Page.
Pass.
And we close it out with Councilmember Doyle.
Pass.
Okay, so the only one that leaves wide open is the salmon recovery, which has been William in the past. Is that a heavy workload?
Well, they changed their time to 2 o'clock. When I first got on it, it was 1 o'clock, so that's why I'm passing.
No,
on
no,
that.
just asking for folks. So I will just leave it open. Do we have any council member that thinks they can do the salmon recovery? Not a problem. There's no critique of the Salmon Recovery Council. We will hopefully work that out internally. Is that how that would work, or?
I think the only one that we must have a council member for is the left board. The other ones, we can figure out something, send a staff member.
Perfect. All right, so left one is still on the table. If we have anyone who can step into that role.
Well, can I ask a question? Are these times that we see here, like the left board, is that time etched in stone, or are there other parties involved in this that?
Yeah, there are other members of the left board are retired policemen from Mountlake Terrace, so those times for that board are pretty locked down.
And for the record, I don't actually see where it lists the time. What were you referring to? Online. Oh, online. Gotcha.
I was just looking at that too. I'm sorry, it's the second Tuesday, monthly, second Tuesday at 4:30. Unfortunately, I have a meeting around that same time already with SCT.
Ah, there it is. Okay, second Tuesdays. I will step in. I think I can keep second Tuesdays open. All right, last call on salmon recovery. We can be here all night, people. No, I'm kidding. Thanks.
And also, we didn't have a primary for SCT. You did, okay.
Yeah,
I just didn't write that down, okay.
Yep. All right, so on that note, how about we go down and everybody agree with what we hear? Arts Advisory Board, we have Councilmember Page. Board and Commissions Interview Subcommittee, we have Councilmembers Doyle, Page, and Murray. DEI Commission, we have Councilmember Murray. Finance Committee, we have Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. Left one, we have Councilmember Sonmore and Mayor. Lodging tax, we have the honor of Councilmember Sonmore. The subcommittee city manager review is Councilmember Sonmore and Doyle. RPAC is Councilmember Sonmore. AHA is Councilmember Matsumoto Wright and Mayor Pro Tem, if I could read my own handwriting. Get used to this, people. Lake Ballinger, we have Councilmember Murray and the mayor. Seashore, mayor and Councilmember Murray. And then SCT, we have Mayor Pro Tem and the mayor. And then we're going to knowingly leave salmon recovery open and hope that the city can get a staff member there unless throughout the year somebody realizes they can make that do speak up. Everybody agree with the assignments? I see a thumb up. See some smiles. All righty. We will consider this almost closed. As my first off the chart, you didn't talk about this, but I did. You just don't remember it. I asked the clerk probably a handful of months ago to print out what I thought were excellent observations by our former Mayor Pro Tem, McCardle. That said, he had no idea he would be quoted one day, so please have mercy on the syntax, because he was free association thinking, but get to the heart of it. And I'm only passing this out not as a contract, but in the spirit of know that this led me moving forward. And as a council at the time, different makeup, nobody disagreed with what we heard. So I think the spirit of it remains, but I'll pass this out. And if at a future meeting, anybody wants to talk about it, they're welcome to bring that to new business down the line and we'll present it. And really, it was just for folks who haven't been here to see what we had. So it's just a FYI, no need to talk about it tonight. It's just about how do you serve on these boards and commissions. And again, at the time, he was speaking to the creation, context-wise, we had just created the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. That's what he's referring to, but I feel like it's writ large because we have since then had many of liaison positions that don't show up here that happen throughout the year. And it's just, I thought it was you might disagree on the eloquence of it because it's extracted, but at the time, it seemed very reasonable, and just putting that into our conversation for a later date. All right? Now, we shall move forward with the review on and vote on an agreement amendment with Baker Tilly for the long-range financial sustainability plan with our deputy city manager leading.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Carolyn Hope, Deputy City Manager. Great to be with all of you tonight. And congratulations to those of you who won your elections. Tonight, I'm here to talk about the contract we have with Baker Tilly, who is working on our long-range financial sustainability plan and supporting us with the task force. We have had some really great meetings that have been very dense in materials and had great, robust conversations. The task force decided that they needed an extra meeting to deliberate over the recommendations they were going to make. And so we needed to update the budget for this contract for that extra meeting and for some additional analysis that Baker Tilly had to do as we finished closing our books in the middle of last year. So we had some new numbers to update the financial model. So we're seeking an additional $8,000 authorization from the City Council, which is in our budget. We are not seeking a budget amendment for this. And we propose to extend the contract by June 30th, just in case we need a little extra time. We don't anticipate it, but it's always better to ask while we're here. And that is all I have for you. If you have any questions about the work, I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Questions? Councilmember Sonmore?
So the $8,000 is for one extra meeting and something else?
Analysis, we had to change the financial model after they presented it to council because we had just closed our books for 2024.
Okay, I'm just going to say I'd be voting no. I've got the task force notebook here. Some of the information that was put into here, I don't believe will help us balance our budget. Some of the things that were talked about in the committee that they felt would help with our budget, they weren't given some background information that they extremely needed. One was, I believe they wanted to double, and I know we have a task force member here, double what the pavilion brings in, and there was no conversation whether we could do that or not. There was quite a few other conversations that needed additional background, and I do not feel an extra $8,000, so we'd be paying over $100,000, $107,000 of our taxpayers' money, and we are hurting right now extremely in our budget. It's not $1 or $2 million. It's a lot more than that, and I think that we have to count every penny. I think the task force should have gotten additional information that would have explained what they were talking about. And this task force, it's nothing wrong with the members on this task force. They were fantastic. They had a lot of opinions and information they were supplying, and I learned a lot from it. But I do not believe all these, and I can go over them if you want to, all of these different items that were suggested to the committee is going to make a huge difference in our budget. Basically, what I see is that we have to increase taxes, and I believe that's not the only option. We had people on our task force that talked about people in the community that cannot afford a lot of additional increases. So I think we need to buckle down and really watch what we're spending on our budget. So I'd be voting no.
Other comments, questions?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Councilmember Page?
And I guess I'm kind of directing it to Councilmember Sunmore because you're present at those meetings. And if by chance we voted no to extension of this extra money, and I guess it's to both of you, then would the first question is, if we said no, then they're done with us, correct?
They have some money to finish their presentation to City Council, but they probably wouldn't be supporting us in our January task force meeting. And some of the work would probably need to be done by city staff.
Okay. So I guess, again, because you've been attending the meetings, if that scenario happened, in your opinion, because you've been present at all those meetings, how will this get resolved?
I would suggest that we hold that additional meeting ourselves without the consultant there and have our task force, who's highly capable of summarizing how they feel what the budget should need. My other information is we started this last March, and I believe they want the contract to be extended until June of 2026, which I believe is kicking the can down the road. We sent up flags last year and to stop a lot of the spending, and I believe that I think we can do it internally. I think and I'm sorry, I keep on looking at you because I know you're on our board and highly educated, and I believe that they can summarize how they feel the budget should be, because a lot of times I think that they have opinions and our consultant says no. And it's just like, wait a minute, or they have an opinion and they don't have the background on the story of what's going on, because we can't double what's coming into the pavilion. Our pool is sagging. We could offer possible more fitness classes and different things like that. But if the recommendation was to double what the pavilion brings in, I believe we need, and we owe it to our people in the room to give them some background. I know I wanted to bring up about why we didn't charge the additional fee and what the fee is for going to the RFA and how we had that bank capacity. And if we invoke that bank capacities, our citizens aren't getting anything out of it. We're just collecting additional taxes for them. And I wanted to give the background on that, and the consultant just cut me off. And I wasn't going to say anything bad. I just wanted to put it out there why the council had voted not to use that bank capacity, because we were trying to save our citizens money, and it was shot down. And it was just like, so all of a sudden, our board just says, okay, you know, they may recommend to have the bank capacity invoked onto our citizens, and our citizens aren't getting anything from it. We're just collecting extra money that they voted to put into the RFA, and our council said that we did not want to take that extra money. And so there's different things that happen. I don't know if I'm answering your question specifically enough, but.
I mean, and I don't want this to be like a back and forth dialogue, but I do have, I guess the question I have then again, if we went to that scenario and help from anybody here, is there a mandated timeline for this to be completed by? And the other part of that question is if whether it's a yes or no, if this is going to be something that's done internally with those of us at the table in the FST, then is that a possibility that we're going to wind up continuing being in this, and your phrase it, a kick the can down the road without the experts involved with giving us the information that perhaps maybe they don't have privy to? Anybody can answer that.
I can jump in a little bit for that, if you don't mind, Councilmember Page. First of all, I want to be clear that we're not proposing to extend the decisions. We do have on our long-term agenda with City Council a presentation by Baker Tilly on the recommendations of the Fiscal Sustainability Task Force scheduled for February 26th, I believe, the last meeting in February. So the extension is really if there's any wrap-up needed, there's any changes that council proposes and that we want to make sure that the model is updated, that sort of thing. And I just want to reiterate, the task force asked for the additional meeting to answer some questions they had, which we had a very robust conversation about in December, or November and December. So, and also wanted to be clear that we have talked about the banked capacity and the reasons that we have banked capacity. It was in our first meeting, and we've also talked about it since. So all that information has been presented to the FST. I understand that there are differences of opinion about that, and that is for all of us to talk further about.
Councilmember Doyle.
I have a question for Deputy City Manager. So the recommendation of the FST was to go forward with approving this. Do you believe if we did not, that the work, the internal work would be subpar compared to if this was approved?
I would say that a big chunk of Baker Tilly's work is preparing the financial model, updating it with the new data, and showing us how the forecast changes in the future. Our finance director is amazing, and she is buried in about 5 different audits right now. So she just hasn't had the capacity to support this work in the way that she might normally be able to if we didn't have that situation.
Okay, so it sounds like the ideal situation is then to have outside expertise with the and knowledge with the particular like contextual knowledge that our FST and city staff has, but the city staff doesn't have the capacity to do it themselves. Is that accurate?
That is right. And it's not to say that staff are not working on this. We have spent many of hours working on this.
A capacity issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilmember Sonmore.
I just want to say that the clock is ticking, and it has been ticking, and I'll resend out my email that I sent out in February about our budget in our city. It has to stop now. We are going to go bankrupt, and we are passing all this on to our citizens, and they're going to have to pay for all of this. And I can tell you, looking at this book, and I've gone to outside consultants to look at this, and they do not believe this will help either. And so I'm just putting out there that I'm very concerned about our budget. The different scenarios that were put in here are not going to help the bottom line altogether. We did some things a couple years ago by raising the salaries by $3 million that we knew that was going to put us in the hole. We banked on different things coming through that haven't come through. So the clock is ticking more and more, and we're going to have to answer to our citizens.
Other questions, comments? All right. Do we have a motion? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will note the irony in asking for additional funding for a financial sustainability process, but I feel like we're in a place where we need to do this, and therefore I'll be supporting this. But I do share a lot of the concerns that Councilmember Sonmore has raised tonight, and particularly the bank capacity. There was a reason that I put that forward back at the time. But I also recognize we've got financial challenges. I'm looking forward to getting the recommendations from the task force and thoroughly vetting that with the public and with the council, and really getting a better understanding of how we might need to go forward. But we do have significant financial challenges ahead, and we are going to have some tough decisions to make. So with that, I will move to authorize the city manager to amend the contract with Baker Tilly to expand the scope of work and add $8,000 to contract not to exceed $107,500. Sorry.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion?
Can you?
That was timing.
What was the question? Okay. Can you explain a little bit about this additional $8,000 that's already available?
This is in the city manager's professional services budget, and we had some funding scheduled for something else that we decided not to pursue, and we would do that work in-house.
Okay.
Councilmember Sonmore?
Can I ask what that funding was going to go for?
It was to support the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan implementation.
Other discussion? Seeing none, we will call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Abstaining? Sounds like motion passes 6-1. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And we will now move to item technically 8, which is City Manager's report with our City Manager.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Just two things to mention tonight quickly. The first, many folks have been paying attention to the Government Finance and You series that's been running on MLT News. I think that's a very valuable tool for people to understand kind of how government finance works. And I would encourage people to take a look at that and then ask questions. It relates kind of government finance to people's everyday life, which I think is incredibly valuable. The other thing I wanted to mention is we do have the cancellation of the meeting next week on the 15th, and that is so council members are able to attend the SEC dinner. Please touch base with Jennifer if you haven't already to ensure that we purchase the ticket that you'll need to get into that event. So with that, our next meeting will be here on January 22nd, and that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the City Manager? No, seeing no questions, do have a comment for all of us, which is please do, if you can, treat this next week as our council meeting and make it up to Everett. We have Mayor Pro Tem, and I believe Councilmember Murray might be up for positions there. I don't know. Not this time? Well, at least, and you, and the mayor. So, or excuse me, I'm going to keep calling you the mayor. The former mayor, so Councilmember Matsumoto Wright will also be on there. So we need your vote, which also means when you're there, please do talk to other people and remind them why they should be voting for the folks out of Mountlake Terrace. You do get to canvass the room. That's why you're there, not just your one vote, please. That noted, let us move to review of the January 22nd, 2026 work session agenda. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, we shall now move to council comments. Any council comments? Councilmember Matsumoto Wright.
So at the next Thursday's dinner, I'll be not pursuing conservation futures. And it would be nice if somebody from here would, it's like 3 meetings a year. And it is saving the property rights. Like I've been voting to save salmon. And we save agricultural land by saving the airspace above it so that it can never be developed into anything. So some of this agricultural land can be redeveloped into subdivisions, but not if the airspace is already taken up.
Interesting.
And so it's a very, very important and very heartwarming and wonderful committee to be on. And one meeting, we gave away $10 million. But I've been on it a long, long time. And I really, I think that other people would find that this is a fascinating committee to be on. And it's with the Snohomish County Parks and Rec. And so you will become a Snohomish County board member. So you will get a Snohomish County email address, and you will get a free ticket to the fair.
That last one should have got you.
That's
So
your
now we're all
pay.
fighting. Outstanding.
And then I wanted to mention that a photographer named Steve Hathaway has now gone to 50 states and interviewed mayors that he picked from the internet, just looking at their bios and thinking, wow, this person sounds interesting. He went to 50 states. He's a photographer. He just took photographs of all of these mayors, and then he had another person with him that would be interviewing them for the text. And it took him, I think, over 6 years. It was about 6 years ago when he came up and took pictures of 4 cities in western Washington, and that would be Burien, Mukilteo, Darrington, and Mountlake Terrace. And so the one for Mountlake Terrace is in here, and Mukilteo and Carmel with Clint Eastwood. It's just a fascinating book. It's a very high-quality book. And so I brought my copy that it was sent to me for people to look at, but it is quality, and hopefully we'll have a copy, hopefully in our city. And I went to the mayor's meeting yesterday, and many of the mayors wanted copies for their cities, even though they're not in it, but Mukilteo wanted one. So just mentioning that it's here, and it's an honor to be in this book, and it brings Mountlake Terrace to people's attention. That's been.
Outstanding. Council comment section, any council comments? Please, Councilmember Doyle.
Thank you, Mayor. Kind of a two-part comment about what happened yesterday in Minneapolis. I have seen elected officials, I have seen cities, states, the nursing association in Oregon. I saw organizations are making statements condemning what happened yesterday. I feel that as a city, we should do this. I feel that we can do this. I'm afraid that when incidents like this happen, if you say nothing, you can be seen as either ignoring it or you are complicit. And I want Mountlake Terrace to be a better city than that. I want us to be better than that. So where that goes or what that looks like, I don't know. I want us to say something because that was a major event yesterday. What the words are, I don't know. The second thing I wanted to share is I was thinking about how this is a small city, right? We run into each other at the grocery store and at the parks and, outside. And Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson had a wonderful quote today. And his quote, I think, applies to all cities and all communities, and that's, do not let them change the part of your soul that sees a fellow human being when you look at your neighbor. And I want us to remember that as neighbors. And I want us to remember that when we turn on the news and we see so much hate and so much divisiveness, I want us to remember that as we pass each other in the street, I don't look like you, I don't think like you, I don't vote the same as you, but you are my neighbor. And I hope that in this small city that we can remember this in this time of obvious turmoil. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? None? All right. I will pick up mine, and I will just echo, what would be the process if the city was to make a statement? How would that look?
We could take a look at drafting something that is focused on, more focused locally on our community and how we react. I think that statements at our city's level should be focused on how those things are more locally focused. So we can take a shot at drafting that, send it out, see what everybody thinks. And then modify, bring back to council for consideration in a meeting.
So we try not to do surprises, so we'll go over that at our retreat at some point, which is to say no one knew, so putting us on the spot to have to vote, wanted to just recognize that's not going to happen tonight. I do think it's fair, though, to express whether or not there's interest in seeing a draft from the city manager, recognizing the demands and pressure that we put on the city manager. So if you're comfortable with that, we'll just do a thumbs up with proceed with the draft, and then at least keeps the conversation going, or not. Please, Councilmember Page.
I'm in total agreement with what's being said here, but I also want to also remind all of us that we're also individuals. And I'm gonna be frank. I was not hesitant to speak up, and sign on, to a draft, that represented myself as an individual as well as an elected official, to the events. So I think that, as a group, we do have to make a statement, but we also need to be prepared, I think, to test our own feelings, our own emotions, and what our values, and not be afraid. I haven't heard that word yet tonight. Not be afraid, to individually, be you, and step up and say what you need to say in whatever platform that's available for you to do that. And I think that speaks as much volumes to what we are as a city council and as a city, as much as what we hopefully will do as a group, as a city.
Thank you. So I'm just going to bring it back to, let's see whether or not there's an interest in moving forward with the city manager's time of crafting a draft. That was a lot, but I think we followed that. So let's just do by show of hands. My hand is up as a yes. So I see enough to move forward. I see at least 5 hands up, so we would ask that you do a draft. We hit an impasse here. I do want to recognize this is timely, so putting something out on the 22nd, it seems a bit off in the distance, and that's because we're standing on the 8th. But I also recognize that we spent a lot of time talking about we should be doing things in public, and this feels like, well, this might be an email moment. So we're at a crossroad there, which is just looking for what would be a good next step after we ask for a draft, which will give you time to get that going. I don't need it in the morning. But nonetheless, it's kind of recognizing that we do not want to do these things through email, but this particular moment is we're not coming back together again for a couple weeks. So we're either comfortable sending it out on the 22nd because the message is still the message, or we bend and acknowledge that this might be a moment where we have to work through email. If we can even do that. Please, Councilmember Sonmor.
I just wanted to say my 2 cents,
Please.
just to present all sides on this. I did talk about the budget being tight, and I really want the council to consider that all our resources need to go into that. And are we setting a precedent? So every time there's an incident, we're going to put out a press release. It's going to go in a newsletter. It's going to go in an email. This stuff takes time, and I understand that people are upset and mad, and I think sometimes you kind of need to let people understand as individuals, as Paige was putting out there. Some people in our city are going to feel this way, some aren't. So you're putting a statement out there, but it's also, is this something that we should talk about every time there's an incident that the council's going to have an opinion on it? Because the council's here to do a certain job, be good financial stewards of our community, look at the services that we're giving to our city. So that would be something I kind of would like to talk about, and how much time it puts together. And it's just looking at not the particular issue, but how we go about doing things. And I just want to make sure, because it was a surprise, and thank you for bringing that up, is that as a council that we talk about things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Councilmember Sonmor. I thought I saw Councilmember Page. You good? I didn't want to.
I think that one of the 4 strategic plans that we have listed for the next 4 years is we talk about community engagement. And one of the things that I learned by being on the DEI Commission is that no cause is irrelevant if it affects members of our city. And we saw things like that over the tenure that I, as a commissioner, had the privilege of being on, and we had opportunity to speak, to our feelings, and some of those things, were echoed by the council, and some weren't. I think that I believe that the financial responsibility, the fiscal responsibility, is a task, and we have to be stewards of that. But we also have to be stewards, I think, to the soul of the city. And I think that the city expects us to feel the heartbeat of the city. And so with that, when things come up that affects the city, then we have to at least be prepared, at the very least, to have discussion about it. Because if it affects me, then it affects thee. And so therefore, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a write-up every time, that might not be, something that we agree upon, but we got to at least agree that we're human beings first. Someone said we're neighbors. I look at this city as family, because this is where I am, this is my home. So I say all of that just to say that, when things come up, I think this city expects us to some degree to at least have some comments about it, so that we can decide, how do we, if necessary, heal the city, if the city needs healing, because that's what they expect from us, their leaders,
Thank you, Councilmember Page, Councilmember Doyle, and then Councilmember Murray.
I think that clearly not all national events will warrant a council response, right? There is a threshold. A lot of us we know what that threshold is. I believe this event met that threshold. Clearly, lots of things happen every day, and I have no expectation that we would use city resources to comment on national news regularly, because that is a use of resources. That said, this is part of growing our community, it's part of supporting our community, and it's part of leading our community. So I think it's necessary. And frankly, I hope that this does set a precedent. I hope that the community can look to the city for these major national events, for some guidance, for some leadership, for some heart, for some soul. So I hope it does become precedent.
Councilmember Murray, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate all of my colleagues' perspectives. And I will say it is a complex. I agree with Councilmember Dole's proposal, I guess. And I also hear Councilmember Sonmore, having worked at organizations where I've had to navigate the complexity of people's lived experiences in relationship to what's going on in the world, and how they feel both in how an organization responds to those events, and also how they feel when they don't respond. And you send a message both in when you respond and when you don't respond. And it does open a door of complexity as we start to have these sorts of conversations. To your point, if we're setting precedent, that is a precedent then we have to navigate in relationship to a very diverse community that is going to have very different perspectives on when we should speak on something. And we will be saying something to them both when we say these things that I fully am on board with, but also when we don't say things. And there can be complexity there, I think, in terms of the workload comment. So, I mean, I'd love to see this added to so we ended up putting together a structure, need a policy for everything. So I'll put my HR hat on. But I do think if that is something we are interested in engaging more often, I do think it is important to have some sort of structure on when we weigh in and when we don't, that provides staff some guidance and also ensures there's alignment as a council in terms of when do we want to engage in these conversations, because the reality is there's a lot of things going on in the world any given day that we could probably have thoughts on as individuals and that do impact the people in our community. And I think that is real. And I think trying to figure out how we best support collectively our community through the work that we do is an important part of the conversation. So I guess maybe retreat item, can we I agree holistically to add a planned conversation to the retreat around just developing some sort of structure so that at least we have that to guide the first part of the conversation. And that doesn't mean I'm saying we shouldn't then have the conversation as council members, but I think it at least would inform those first steps so that we're not inundating staff with asks. So.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, I will add mine, which is, I appreciate the word precedence, and as much as it saddens me that we're even having to have this conversation, sooner or later precedence is going to happen, but I'm under the impression we might have already done that. Did this city, and I apologize, it was very new at the time for me, so I don't remember, did the city put out a message when George Floyd was murdered? And I'm not going to take the word murdered back or downplay it, so let's just start there. That was how it was adjudicated, and so we're sticking with the language.
Yep. At the time, I was not here, so I don't know, but we can look back in the records. I don't know the answer to that.
Mayor Pro Tem might remember.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I don't recall that we did in that incident, but I do recall when there's harassment or whatever of the Asian community recently.
Right, Asian hate, yes.
That we did put out some sort of a statement, and so I would encourage us to look back at that and use that perhaps as a model for how we can really refocus the discussion on healing the community and loving local and make sure that we're always and I agree that we should have a protocol for the future and how we address this, but in general, anytime we are concerned about world events, that we are always refocusing on supporting our community, our city, our neighbors. So so I appreciate what City Manager had mentioned previously as far as a statement, keeping it local and figuring out how to address this in an effective way locally. But I think we have had a precedent in how we've responded in the past and kind of use that as our model for how we do this and then put together a protocol for the future. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I would also expand us to remind ourselves that we're in a county, and it'd be interesting to see whether or not the county council is putting any messages out in the spirit of what else is happening in the city. But I could also wait and use that as maybe part of our threshold for when we would act as well. We can lead, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, good to have county support as well. All right. I do feel compelled to follow up on a comment, which to the city manager is not going to make or break, but I do think it's fair to ask, what type of time investment are we looking at on your part to ask you to do this work?
I don't. This is something that Carolyn and I, among our other staff members, can put together a draft. It'll certainly have to be worked on after we receive comments, but I can't imagine it would take very long.
Okay. Which does bring us back to this council deciding, is this something we can do through email, or do we consciously want to wait until the 22nd? I do think the message will be the same on the 22nd as it would on the 9th, but we also have other modes of interactions that are public records, so folks would see it if we did it through email. But I do want to be, again, not spend an entire month talking about needs and then immediately throw it out the window on the first opportunity.
And also, when we say email, just to make clear, that's emailing me, not amongst yourselves.
Thank you, sir. No chain meetings, please. That's absolutely the public record part. So, as a council, do you have a preference? I know we're working on the draft, but we have to review the draft, and that's kind of now the next part. So I walked you up to first, are we going to do a draft? Now, when are you going to review it? Do we want to review it before the 22nd? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just weigh in. I would probably prefer on this one that we do this on the 22nd to go through the proper channels and public record, et cetera.
Okay. Any rebuttal or agreement or alternatives? All right. Then we're going to proceed with the draft. I would say get that in our hands as soon as we can and let us know. But know that coming in on the 22nd, it would be to say this is the statement we're putting out. And heaven forbid we have to modify that. So let's trust that the situations will keep unfolding as they are, and we'll catch up to it when we catch up to it. Yeah. Any final council comments other than mine? And you know that means we're going to get out of here at 9 o'clock. Last chance. Okay, yeah, some days. That's when I get more comfortable with you all. I genuinely want to first, since you presented it this way, what a very humbling first conversation to have as a new African-American mayor, first and foremost, but just as a new mayor and new council. For folks who weren't with us before this meeting, we actually went across the street to the police department because we have an incredible training facility over there to do photos. And at the end, we said, oh, should we do a funny photo? Which just opened up at the end to speed the story up, the recognition that this is a new council. Councilmember Doyle is new to the council, but this is a new council, meaning that wherever we go is where we go together, and hopefully we stay together. That said, we stayed together at least through these last 6 years. I joined the council in 2019, so I guess technically that makes it 7. And I really want to pause and just, for the first time through this microphone, make sure, in my recollection, that we acknowledge that the city of Mountlake Terrace, for the first time, had an Asian American mayor who led this city very successfully, and including, which absolutely was very deeply, almost made me cry, what do you call that, a peaceful transition. I don't think anybody was unaware of Dr. Woodard's interest in leading this city and the work I've been trying to do to make sure you'd be proud of me to lead this city. But it was not easy to look a mayor in the eye who's doing well and say, hey, I really want to be in that spot. And I never publicly did that, knowing that this time is going to come and I will give you your flowers on the other side if it comes that way. But thank you so much for everything you've done. That is in a book doesn't seem enough. That seems like that really compresses and misses what's been happening I'm sure before 2019, but nonetheless under your leadership, and just thank you for that. And I'm also going to make sure people understand how excited I am, although I will miss Councilmember Murray as my potential mayor pro tem, just so we to learn together and we can stumble through it together, but to say I am deeply honored that Mayor Pro Tem held on to his title. I revisit these meetings every year, and I absolutely revisited last year's words, and I want to be as clear as possible. I was very proud of our leadership, but I wanted some type of change. But I'm also very comfortable having Mayor Pro Tem remain as Mayor Pro Tem. He is an amazing person. I've learned so much just being on the Finance Committee with him and continue to look forward to that. That said, I will just say to this council, we did say that the Mayor Pro Tem position was to learn. You probably weren't going to learn much this first year with me as your mayor, but do recognize that we will vote again in a year's time, and I sincerely hope that somebody gives Mayor Pro Tem a chance to think about doing other ways to recontribute if you want to learn these ropes. That said, I'm going to be leaning on you a lot, so you're going to be tired by the end of the year anyway. You may want to jump before that. I hope you don't. So again, just want to say thank you all, and I will leave it at that. And it was only 4 minutes, I think, on that one. That said, we are officially adjourned. So, no.